right, good morning, everybody. Hello, can everybody hear me okay? Yeah? Oh, look at that. I love the big thumbs up in the back. Thank you. So welcome. We're so glad to have you here. And I know you may not have seen that hype video, but man, it will get you pumped up. So we're going to show it to you again here in a bit because this is so exciting that we have Universal Kids Resort here with us today and soon to be here in Frisco by next year. Can we give a round of applause to that? And you are, this morning, the first in a new series, the Procurement Pathways, which we're kicking off with Universal Kids Resort. So thank you for being part of something new at the Frisco Chamber. The mission behind this is to truly connect businesses across our membership with opportunities of how they can expand whatever partnerships and relationships they already have and grow new ones. So I'm excited to have some success stories to tell out of today, and there will be more to come as far as Procurement Pathways goes. And of course, a big thank you to the team behind Universal Kids Resort for all your coordination and making today possible. They've been saying from day one that a big part of this for them is to plug in and connect with the local Frisco business community as they launch this exciting new concept. And I'll tell you, they've been true to their word. We just so appreciate everything you've done already, and I know there's more to come. So the Vice President and GM of Universal Kids Resort theme park, Dan Cuff, is sort of leading the charge. You'll get to hear from him in a bit, but they've also flown in about 10 others to join them to make sure you all get a chance to connect with the appropriate person today. So they'll take the stage shortly. Well, without further ado, please help me enthusiastically welcome to the stage Vice President and General Manager of Universal Kids Resort Frisco, Dan Cuff.
Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Good. Thank you so much, Crystal, and thank you so much to our partners at the Frisco Chamber of Commerce. Before I begin, I want to introduce our two other key speakers who have joined us here in Frisco for today's event. First up is Brad Singh. Brad is our Senior Vice President of Procurement for Universal Destinations and Experiences. And also to the stage is straight from Hollywood, Ruben Plaza, our Director of Procurement, Universal Studios Hollywood, as well as Universal Kids Resort. Okay, what I'm going to do today, I'm going to first do a quick introduction and update on what we're building up there on the tollway. I'm going to turn it over to these gentlemen, tell you more about being a vendor for Universal, what it takes. It's not easy. Business opportunities, what we're specifically looking for here in Frisco, and then finally, how to register with us and questions and answers. Universal Destinations Experiences is the umbrella within Universal that has our theme parks. It has our touring arena shows like Jurassic World Live and other great intellectual properties and characters. We also have our merchandise and our merchandise licensing. All falls within the umbrella of Universal Destinations and Experiences. Now, as many of you know, we're part of a bigger company. Many of you know Universal for the movies. Has anybody seen the new How to Train Your Dragon movie? All right. More importantly, who's going to go see Jurassic World next month? The new, there we go. People know us for the movies. Of course, we're part of NBC Universal, so we have television networks. Of course, NBC, Telemundo, that's all part of our umbrella. You go even higher than that, we're under Comcast. So it is a big company, but you know, our goal is to not feel like a big company. And our goal is to how can we connect not just with local businesses, but of course, to our guests. And it's those connections that make the biggest difference for everybody enjoying their time at our theme parks. Our goal, ignite the thrill of being fully alive. We also work to incorporate great intellectual property and franchises. Of course, you see the Minions, Jurassic World, Transformers. For those people who have been to our theme parks, we don't always use our own characters. Transformers, for example, we exclusively have the theme park rights for Transformers around the world, but Transformers is actually owned by the Hasbro toy company, so we license it from them. Many of you know that we have Harry Potter and the Wizarding World at many of our theme parks. That's part of Warner Brothers. But we want to connect and use these amazing characters and franchises in our theme parks because it's what helps our guests connect to us and make great family memories. Now, Super Nintendo World and Nintendo partnership was the first time for us that we did something very special. In most every theme park, the rides and the lands come after the movie. If the movie's successful, maybe Jurassic Park, maybe Minions, then you start seeing it in a theme park. Now, a number of years ago, we partnered in Osaka, Japan with Nintendo. It was the first time ever to bring the Nintendo brand to one of our to any theme park. And we started in Osaka. We now have Super Nintendo Worlds in Hollywood as well as Orlando, Florida. But this was the first time ever that we created such a strong partnership with Nintendo that the movie became, Super Mario Brothers movie, became a product after the theme park collaboration happened. The Super Mario Brothers movie is part of Illumination Studios, which is also under our umbrella. So it was the first time ever that a theme park collaboration actually led to a feature film. Now, most important for our company is our team members. And that's where we have a tendency within our company to really, we kind of say, listen, if we take care of and take great care of our team members, they're going to take great care of our guests. And I always love this photo here because that gentleman on the left, his name is Eves. He works in valet parking in Orlando. Back around, I hate to say the year, but I think it was around 2006. I ran parking and transportation in Orlando, Florida. Eves worked for me then. If any of you go to our park in Orlando and valet park, he's still there with our company after more than 20 years, still working in valet. And that was also where I learned that valet parkers, they do a pretty good business. It's a pretty good gig. So anyway, but he is so happy and he's such a great part of our Universal family. We also look on the retail side. What can we do to create, you've heard the term before, experiential retail. What can we do to up the game? Because it's no longer going to a park and buying a t-shirt or buying a keychain. The public, our guests, want more. From a wand in the Wizarding World to a power-up band in Super Nintendo World, it's that kind of innovative retail products that our team also focuses on delivering to our guests. How can we continue to up our game and deliver a great experience? We also focus on operational excellence. Y'all live here in North Texas. You know the weather is tough. We can't control the weather. It's gonna rain. It's gonna be hot. Attractions might break down. Those kind of things happen. What we look at is how can we make the best of that? How is our team trained, and how do we take care of those guests who might be inconvenienced? How can we get them to help them stay dry in an unexpected North Texas rainstorm? How can we make sure that, hey, you know what, it's cold this weekend. How can we make sure that there's hot drinks available for all of our guests and the children visiting our park to stay warm? So we look at opportunities to go above and beyond and take care of our guests. This is a great example here, community impact. You saw in the sizzle video ways that we give back to the community. It's one of the reasons we're here today. We want to become, listen, the Frisco community has been such great partners with us already. we're now looking at how we can give back, not just to the Frisco businesses, but also to the nonprofit organizations that help our community and help the citizens of our community. And that's really important to us. Just last year alone, in our company, our location in Orlando, delivered over 100,000 hours of community service from our team members. How can we give back to our community? As I said, on the theme park side, we've got a lot going on. Many of you know our resort in Orlando, our kind of where it all started in Hollywood, California. Myself, I was a part of building and opening Universal Studios Singapore, as well as Universal Beijing Resort. We have our park in Osaka, Japan. And we got some new things coming up too. Within the next 2 months, we are opening Universal Horror Unleashed in Las Vegas, Nevada. I laugh, I think demographic-wise, it is the complete opposite of what we're doing here in Frisco. It is very much a scary, it's going to fit into Vegas very well. For those of you familiar with Vegas, it's in the expansion of Area 15, right across the highway from Las Vegas Boulevard. Of course, everybody knows Frisco, Texas. And we have a new project that you might have seen. It was actually just recently announced by the Prime Minister of England. A small little piece of property we just purchased in Bedford, UK, about 45 minutes north of London, and we'll be building a park there over the next 5 to 6 years. So that's next on the agenda for us. But let's talk about why we're all here. Universal Kids Resort. Again, I know you might have heard it before. We are focusing on families with children under 12. It is very a different concept for what we've done in the past and what our other parks is. It's small in terms of Universal standards. We're only about 100 acres. But many of you have seen, it is growing fast. Construction-wise, our hotel is already topped out. If you ever saw the inside of the hotel, which hopefully some of you will in the next about another year or so, walls are up, drywall's going in, utilities, plumbing, electricity's all in. So we're moving very, very fast. For those of you, as you drive by us on the Dallas North Tollway, you'll see that some of our rides are going in as well. In fact, we just topped out our second coaster this past weekend. So we're moving fast. We want to get this open, not just for us, but for all of you as well. We also recently announced all the characters that we'll be bringing to Frisco. Shrek, Puss in Boots, Gabby's Dollhouse. If any of you have a young daughter, you know Gabby. Trolls, SpongeBob SquarePants, Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, and of course the lovable Minions. This is, again, some of these are new intellectual properties for us. I mentioned sometimes we work with other brands. SpongeBob SquarePants is owned by Paramount, but we've got a great partnership with them, and we'll be bringing SpongeBob and all of his friends to Frisco. And even on the Jurassic World side, again, we're focused on children, so I'm sorry, we're probably not going to have 12-foot tall raptors running amok, okay? It's probably going to scare some kids. So we're reimagining that brand just for our youngest guests. We will, of course, have our hotel. As I mentioned before, this is a 300-room hotel that is going to be part of our park and integrated. In fact, the entrance of the theme park goes directly through the hotel on the first floor. You can kind of see it there on the bottom. So it's really a fully immersive experience, characters in the hotel. It's a great opportunity for families to kind of get a weekend getaway or a nice little staycation. And as we look at this from a Frisco business standpoint, getting an additional night or additional day's stay for visitors to the Frisco area. Now, before I turn it over to the procurement side, a few things that I'll say is running a theme park is like running a city. We are looking for, we need people to take care of our landscaping. We're going to need security services. plumbing, HVAC, electricians. We need, we don't have a central kitchen. We're going to look at catering facilities and bakeries that can support our park. And I'll warn you, before these guys talk, they're tough. Signing up to be a vendor for Universal is not easy. It's not easy at all. Our contracts are scary, our requirements are scary, and we have a lot of small print that any of you with a lawyer are going to be questioning. But with that said, it can be so rewarding. And the exciting thing for all of you is that once you become, you're not here and these guys aren't here just to become a vendor of Universal Kids Resort. We are linked through that whole portfolio. So becoming a vendor for Universal Kids Resort, once you're an approved vendor, you're actually an approved vendor for all of Universal destinations and experiences. Okay? For any of you who've been to our park in Orlando or Hollywood, in the Wizarding World, there is one of the most popular souvenirs is chocolate frogs. And when we first opened the Wizarding World, our team went to a very small family-owned candy company outside of Orlando that could produce chocolate frogs for us. Oh God, if they knew what they were in for. They now produce both milk chocolate, white chocolate, and dark chocolate frogs for all of Universal Orlando Resort, as well as Universal Studios Hollywood they're producing for as well. All coming out of this small family-owned candy store, which now probably has had 6 expansions just because of us. We have a lot of demands. One of the examples I use is we are looking for a bakery that could deliver us 100 minion cupcakes every morning. But here's the deal. I want 100 minion cupcakes. I want them delivered by 8 a.m. and I want them delivered 365 days a year. Christmas morning, I will call you asking where my cupcakes are. Okay? The park is not going to be open every day of the year, but our hotel will be. So there are a lot of demands on a small business to be able to keep up with our demand. We may say, hey, the minion cupcakes are selling huge. I want to go to 200 starting tomorrow. Can you deliver this? And those are the kind of things that we've partnered with great and collaborated with great local businesses at all of our parks around the world to not just be a part of us, but also be a great partner with our company and our brand. And here's the other tough thing. You can't tell anybody you're making minion cupcakes for Universal. You can't use our logo. You can't say I'm the official minion cupcake bakery of Universal. You can't sell those minion cupcakes to your other customers because we own the intellectual property. You're becoming a vendor of ours. You're not getting any rights to any of our intellectual properties. So it's tough. I'll warn you, these guys are tough. But so rewarding. What a great partnership. And as I said, we have a lot of needs here in Frisco, from food and beverage, security and landscaping, some of the other trades I mentioned. We have a lot of partnerships, and these guys go over it for you. And we're really looking forward to working with all of you and making Universal Kids Resort a success. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Brad Singh, Senior Vice President of Procurement for Universal Destinations Experiences.
Appreciate it. Anybody in here own a cupcake business? Lucky you, it sounds like. So as Dan said, I had the pleasure of doing this just about a year ago, and I got a chance to meet some of you last year. And I think one of the things I mentioned to the group was as we progress the project, there'll be more opportunities, and then the procurement timelines will come in a little bit closer. So fast forward a year and a half, here we are. We've brought some of our key partners here from our culinary team, as that's going to be a big offering for us. I brought some of my team as well from Hollywood as well that's been working with this group. And the time is now really to start interacting and looking at business. So as we start this, I always like to start with our sourcing mission statement. And, if you see our broader deck, we have this actually in Chinese and also Japanese. Same mission across the world. I would start by saying thank you to Crystal and the sponsors here of the Chamber. We find that when we come to new communities, we cannot do it without the support of the folks in this room. And I would say out of all the things I do, leading global procurement for UDX, this is probably the most fun. The most fun to meet people, to get to know new products. You wouldn't believe how much innovation comes out of rooms like this all over the world. So I want to talk a little bit about that today. Separately, you should all be very proud of Frisco. In the year and a half that I've been here, it looks like a totally new city. Just never move that Hutchins barbecue. Don't move that thing. I talked to my team about it. I said, you've got to see it. And unfortunately, I didn't get to see it this time, but that's a hit, so keep that. So that's our sourcing mission. We use the same sourcing mission globally. I would say that as we look at the overview of UDX and the organization and sourcing and procurement, what we do with a lot of heart. And when we partner with our vendors in the community and our businesses, we expect them to share the same passion for the product that we share for UDX. So I thought it would be good maybe just to put a few bullets up here before Ruben comes up and talk about the process of contracts and some of those things. Some of the spirit of when we talk about procurement, what that means to us at UDX. As Dan said, tough contracts, but we're nice people. So we've never found, we've always find, win-win relationships in all of our business partners. But for our team, we're a global team. We're finding the best solutions for our key stakeholders. Our key stakeholders are here from food and beverage. That's a really important part of our ecosystem. We also encourage our vendors to take new, bold, and innovative approaches. Look, what we're doing in Orlando is not what we're going to do here. As Dan said, this is a different audience. This is a different theme park. Our plan is not just to replicate the supply base that we've done in Orlando and bring it to Frisco. Our plan is to build a new supply base that can offer new, innovative product, and potentially that product travels to other locations as well. For me, I think relationships are super important, right? I mean, most people do business with people they like to do business with first. Right, so creating relationships is very important. There are going to be vendors that maybe the cupcakes show up at 8:30, but you know what? It's about how you rebound from that situation that goes a long way. So integrity, transparency, honesty, partnership is a big thing for us at UDX. And I mentioned it earlier, our local and small businesses are a key partner to our success. I mean, in every location across UDX, I would say 30 to 40% of the supply base or more in some locations are our supply chain. So the impact you make on the community also makes it back to the parks as well. So one of the pieces of homework I always give our potential vendors, I'm not sure, just show of hands, who's been to Orlando within the past 5 years to one of our parks? Okay. Dan, you have, definitely. But about 30 to 40% of the room. So I actually get to teach some classes to our small businesses, similar to the RED program that was shown earlier. And some of our businesses, they ask me, they say, well, Brad, what's the best way to get acquainted with Universal? And I say, look, visit the park, right? I mean, touch and feel the product, because that's what we're going to ask you to deliver. And when you get a sense of how the park operates, the product we serve, you sort of get a sense of understanding how things work in our ecosystem and the needs we have. So what we find is when we come to these locations, as I mentioned, cross-destination opportunities. There's things we're going to find in Frisco that we're going to say, can you come to Los Angeles? Can you come to Orlando? Can you come to Las Vegas? Jod has already started asking those questions to some of our suppliers in the ecosystem. Scale is opportunity. Non-traditional service methods. What I find is when you're serving Universal, it's not only serving Universal directly. The other part about serving Universal is the folks in the business community you have in the room. Interestingly enough, when we're building some of our large projects, for those of you who don't know, we just launched a new theme park in Orlando called Epic Universe. We've been working on that for about 6 years now. But you'd be surprised. A lot of vendors that brought Epic to life actually partnered together. So I would not ignore the business relationships, the connections that you've come together via the chamber. I mean, the relationships you have amongst each other are just as important as the relationships you will have with Universal. And in many cases, those relationships will allow you to scale and help deliver. So non-traditional service methods is a big important part of what we do to scale. Understand your own scale tolerance. We will ask for scale, right? As Dan mentioned, things go from peak season to non-peak season, supply and demand. If anyone tells you they understand demand and supply chain, they're lying to you, right? I've learned that in all my years of supply chain. And lastly, the importance of persistence. Look, you're going to send us notes or emails, and you may say, well, I haven't gotten a response. Well, it's persistence, it's resilience, it's a little bit of timing that resolves that. But I would say stay persistent, okay? One of the case studies I just wanted to talk about was a company called MDSX. They were actually a supplier that started with us, but they were actually a fourth-tier supplier. So they were hired by another supplier, then another supplier, then another supplier, and eventually they did some media work for us. One of the things we've done at NBC and Comcast and at UDX is similar to the program that was mentioned earlier about RED. We've actually partnered with one of our local university and taught a curriculum on business. So we had a college professor that came in and maybe taught marketing, and then our chief marketing officer came in for class 2 and taught marketing in a practical world. We did that for negotiation, we did that for contracting. What we found is that to our businesses that participated in that, it taught acumen, right? And they not only use those skills for UDX and Universal, they use it across the entire portfolio. So when you talk about building impact and resilience, it went a long way. But we got to know MDSX, and as a supplier, when we got to know them, they had 2 people in the organization. They're up to 14. They're continuing to scale. They're now doing work for NASA and a lot of other outfits. They've gotten so well versed at doing business with Universal that in many cases I have to say, do you have capacity to do business with us anymore, right? Which is a good story for them, right? As an organization, they've grown so big that they've gotten to scale and been able to do it across the globe for UDX and other clients as well. So I would say we're looking for those similar stories here. Not only because we want to deliver the best product in Frisco, but we want to deliver the best impact to all of our parks globally. So I would say as we talk about what we want to do here in Frisco, just think about scale. Just think about your scale tolerance. Think about how you can deliver that product to other parks. Think about all those things that would really help you thrive as a business. And be honest, right? I mean, the other thing we want our vendor base to do is be honest with us. And most oftentimes, we'll help you. But we cannot help what we don't know. So thanks again for your time this morning. I want to pass it over to Ruben Plaza from my team. He's going to go through a little bit more finite details on the procurement process for becoming a vendor with UDX, as well as some of the services. But again, really appreciate the support of the chamber, everyone in the room. It takes a village and a community to bring these projects to life. So really appreciate your support, and thank you for being here.
Hi, my name is Ruben Plaza. I'm the Director for Sourcing for Universal Studios Hollywood, and I also support new ventures such as here Universal Kids Resort here in Frisco. So why is sourcing and procurement important, and why does it matter? Well, we're here to enable success, both inside and outside the company. Now, our strategic goals are to obviously to find value for our money and make sure that things that we are buying are delivered in a timely manner. However, it's very important for us, as both Dan and Brad have talked about, to connect to business opportunities in our local communities, to build long-term partnerships, enable stronger communities. So what does sourcing look like at UDX? It is a typical process. It's a little dry, so apologies for that. But basically what it looks like is we conduct our market research first, trying to understand what vendors are in that particular space that we're looking for something. We build a list, and then after that, we start talking to people. We want to understand what capabilities they have, and based on that, we build out who can participate in that process. And we would contact to have conversations to understand what you cannot do. And if we feel that there's a connection there, we will ask you to participate in this process. We'll ask you to sign NDAs, and we'll kick off the RFP or the RFQ process, so the request for quote, the request for proposal process. In that, we will ask you to, we'll lay out what the timeline looks like, what the scope of work will look like, as well as guidelines for submission for that RFP or for the RFQ. If required, we will conduct job walks and site visits. We'll also answer questions that you might have as part of that RFP. And once you submit your proposal, we will then go through an initial proposal evaluation. We'll look at, did you meet the requirements? Do we have some questions that we need to ask? Is there anything missing? One of the things that we also do is then have a clarification round. As part of the clarification round, in addition to the questions, is we may ask you to present to us as part of what your solution is going to look like. Once we do that, we'll ask for a best and final offer and do our final evaluations and awards. And if you win the bid, we'll do vendor onboarding and get to contracting, which is, as Dan and Brad have alluded to, a somewhat complicated process for us. And if necessary, we will do a post-award debriefing. Now, this is the part that Dan said was a little scary. It's the it's the onboarding. So first things first, we will ask you to register through Apex. It is our self-service vendor registration platform. From this, you'll receive a link to upload your information, and we'll ask you to fill out any necessary forms and upload any documentation that's required, such as a W-9. Again, this is the most important part of the process to be able to actually be in our ecosystem going forward. If you're going to be conducting work on site, we will also ask you to register through ISN, which is a third-party service we use to verify insurance, safety programs, and things of that nature. You will also receive a link to register and upload any relevant documents, such as COIs or certificates of insurance. Please note that there is a fee to register with ISN, which varies based on the size of the business. As part of the RFP, you would also have received the standard terms as part of the package, and what we ask you to do is to be sure to review those terms as part of your bid. Where we get hung up on is vendors do not read those terms, and then they question why we're asking for certain things. So as part of that process, we ask you to be sure to familiarize yourself, and if there's any exceptions, to know what those are, and those may lead to disqualification if we can't get past any sort of conflicts there. And as part of this contracting process, if there's labor involved, we will also ask you to submit labor rates. So thanks again. I'm glad to be here. What I put up here is a QR code. This allows you to share your information. If there is something that we feel there might be a connection for, we'll be in contact. So again, I will leave this up here so you can take some pictures, and that is it for me. And I think we're going to get into some Q&A now.
Go ahead and take this photo, take that QR code. Feel free to register, either when you get back to your office, or if you do it right now, that's fine too. Of course, I know many of you will probably have business cards in your pockets. This will get you into the system initially and start that process and get your company information in, basically what trades you offer, your contact information, kind of all the basics so that our procurement team can get started. So with that said, I'd like to introduce a few other people who are here, who've traveled to Frisco to help support this event, help support each one of you as well. You've met Ruben, you've met Brad from our procurement team, our global procurement team. I want to also introduce one other member of our procurement team, Jad Hamza. Come on up, Jad. We also have two culinary specialists, two chefs with us today. We have an entire culinary research and development team that is based in Orlando that do menu development, tastings, really amazing stuff. And we'll start with Chef Robert Martinez Jr., who's traveled, come on up, from Orlando. And Chef Christopher Colon from Orlando as well. And also from our operations team, and this is everything from those window cleaners to attraction services to, man, you name it, they're amazing. Our Senior Director of Operations, Megan Tanner. And our Manager of Attractions Operations, coming up, Anthony Espen. And also in a few minutes, I know she was running late this morning. She's on her way in from the airport. Melanie Becker from our government relations team will be here. Oh my God, she made it. Melanie, come on up. You don't be hiding back. She's hiding behind the coffee. She had an early flight. So Melanie is here from our government relations team as well. And with that, let's open it up for some brief Q&A. Crystal's got the mic.
Yes, we are ready to go.
Was the list that we just saw there on that board limited to all the organizations you're looking for?
Not at all. That's a sampling. There is definitely more items more things we're looking for than that's on that list. Those are the initial highlights that we kind of brainstormed last week.
Hi, good morning. My name is Ivan Pascual. I have a company that we do business analytics and machine learning that tends to be very specific and oftentimes may not be available, or there's not information that you guys might be looking for. What is the process in case I feel like we might be able to bring something to you guys, but it's not listed?
Brad, you want to take that?
So I can take that one. So we do actually employ a lot of professional services across the entire UDX portfolio. So the way in is the reason why we wanted to create that form versus handing out business cards was so that folks can be a little bit more descriptive in the services you're offering. So I would say that's the way to get in. And then, for example, your business would actually go to one of my colleagues who runs industrial engineering and business analytics in Orlando. But nonetheless, that's the path in. And we do hire services for that group in Orlando.
Thanks. A good example of that is for our hotel that's here in Frisco. We've looked at, we've got a lot of experts in Orlando and in Hollywood, California, that know a lot of great things about that market. But we've had to hire a professional service here in Frisco that's specific to the Frisco market. It's a new market for us. And so we are looking at experts who know the market. Myself, my wife and I have only lived here about a year now. But as a brand, as a company, we're new to the market. And we do look at those professional services who are experts in the North Dallas area.
I'm Jackie Brinkley. I'm with Hotel Indigo, and yes, I am standing up. What is the projected timeline for the hotel to open and then the park and just the timeline for everything?
That's a great question. Next question. We're opening next year in 2026. That's about the best, most detailed information I can give to you. However, I'm happy to say that about half the people on this stage are staying at your hotel right now. So we're here to help. We'll give back to the community.
Good morning. Typically, how long do contracts last? And then once they lapse, is the process the same, applying for RFP or RFQ?
It depends. Typically, contracts can be 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, 5 years. There is a renewal process. Sometimes there are options included in the contract. It all depends on what we negotiate. As far as if, once the contract comes up for renewal, we will go through an evaluation process about whether we just want to extend or if we want to conduct another RFP. So it really depends on the specifics of the opportunity.
Hi, Bruce Bernstein with Carrington International Corporation. We've been based here, headquartered our corporation in Frisco since 2001. Excited to have you guys be a part of the community. We're really excited about what you're bringing. Part of our solutions include employee benefits, health, medical, wellness type services. Does that roll up under human resources from one of the other organizations, Universal, NBC? Can you tell us a little bit about how that works, if it's different for different markets or if it's more of a global or domestic type operation?
Fair question. Do you want to take that, Brad? It's a mix, really. Yeah.
So that's right. We do leverage the scale of the portfolio when it comes to benefits. A lot of the employee programs, because Comcast, our parent company, they're in Texas, right? So we leverage the portfolio of anything related to employee overhead, employee benefits.
Yeah, sometimes there are some specific local programs, benefit discount programs, things like that we can offer our team members. So there are opportunities, but yeah, when it comes to like insurance and 401ks, things like that, we do leverage our global brand. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Rajiv Gupta, and thank you for coming over here and giving all of us over here the opportunity as well and connect with you all. So I own a fine dine cuisine, kitchen and bar. Now, from a mini cake example, right, I just want to understand if I want to extend, let's say, from a food and beverage and catering perspective, the exclusivity would be then, unless I replace my name to Universal, I can't do anything with anybody else. Unless you ask me that, those things cannot be extended to, to rest of the audience. I would happily do that, but just to understand the process. So.
No, I'll take that. It's not that restricting. Obviously, if you were selling products to us and supplying products to us, your name wouldn't be on it because you're giving us your supplier. And if anything, we put our own name on it. But that doesn't mean that you can't supply to other people at all. It's not limiting at all. Maybe that specific product if you don't sell it at your own business. But we're not that limiting. We're not, it's like, hey, you work for us, don't work for anybody else. Absolutely not. We want your business to grow just as much as you do. And I just want to make sure that it's understood that, we're partners. And we want to make sure that not just that your product is successful being sold in the theme park or at the hotel, but you're successful as a business owner as well.
I'm with Moss Heating and Cooling. I just want to know what kind of percentage of your maintenance and your electrical, plumbing, and HVAC is going to be in-house, and how much is going to be subbed out to, other vendors.
Good question. We will have our own technical services team in-house. With that said, we most likely will not have licensed electricians. We will not have licensed, we'll have people who can troubleshoot. But we won't have anybody on staff to be able to replace a compressor, for example, on an HVAC unit. We were talking earlier, the hotel that you see, we won't have anybody on staff who will be able to clean the external facade and the external windows, the exterior windows of that hotel. Elevator maintenance. Obviously, that's required to be a license, and we'll need a company to do that as well. But just like that cupcakes, on July 4th, if our HVAC goes out, we'll need somebody to respond. I apologize. We don't care. It's July 4th. We're full. we'll need somebody to respond. So those are Christmas Day, when our heat goes out, we'll need somebody there on Christmas Day as well. So understand that we will need a lot of those trades, electricians, plumbers, things like that. We'll be able to self-diagnose on property, but in terms of major repairs, electrical installs, replacing a unit or even replacing a compressor or fan units, that would be done by one of our partners.
Hi, good morning. Michael Norwood with Workforce Solutions of North Central Texas. So my question is, how are you all currently sourcing for candidates? And two-part question, are you open to doing hiring events or special events to fill vacant positions?
We have started recruiting via our own websites and our own, through our own public portals. We have our own hiring website, universalkidsresort.com has it. With that said, that's really at this point, we're just starting looking at professional positions. We will have over 1,500 team members by the time we open. And those hourly team members we will need to do hiring events here in the Frisco community. Who knows? We may be back in this room in 6 months hiring for everything from food and beverage to ride operators to front desk of the hotel. So yes, we are very open to that. We're going to need to connect with the community because that is something that we are not going to be able to do ourselves.
Hi, my name is Rico Singleton. I'm the local owner and operator of Donato's Pizza of Frisco franchise here. You may have heard of us in other cities. Curious, obviously.
Congrats on your location at the Rough Riders Field, by the way.
That too.
It's doing well for you.
Thank you. There's a game going on now. So obviously, pizza experience, hot, fresh, we need to make sure that that's a good experience, and we can't deliver 1,000 pizzas at 8 a.m. for the rest of the day. How do you envision providing something like a pizza into the park? Do you allow vendors to bring in their own oven and cook it fresh there? Or what other options do you have to deliver fresh food?
Chef Robert Martinez.
Yeah, right now we will definitely have pizza, but we are most definitely going to make it ourselves. Now, that doesn't mean that we wouldn't have the opportunity to do a catering event where we wouldn't be able to service all the guests that are in our park. We would absolutely allow for you to cook the pizzas somewhere in the back of the house. Freshness and quality is very important to us, so we would most definitely try to leverage companies to help us out with that.
Yeah, the trick is we don't, our kitchens are going to be limited in size. If we have 300 school kids who need lunch one day, it may not be something we'll be able to do in-house. So we would look at external companies like yours to come in and produce a quality product for those kids or that group.
Hi, I'm Amy Kennedy. I'm the Director of Sales for the Hampton Inn and Suites Field House, which is like the closest location at this point. My question is, I'm a huge sports group hotel. I do tons of sports groups. A lot of those are under 12. Baseball teams, things like that. So when will you have people, or when do you expect to have people on staff that we can work with? Because that's always the biggest question. Hey, I'm bringing in 40 kids. We want to take them somewhere for the day, and that way I can work with Universal with the hotel portion to maybe develop that relationship, and vice versa. If your hotel is full, there's a place nearby to refer a group.
No, it's a great question. We've got an Orlando-based sales team right now that are focused on Universal Kids Resorts. Our one kind of the lead of that group, Colleen, is wonderful. In fact, she came from the youth sales market as well. So she gets cheerleaders, sports teams, all those. We are currently in the process of finalizing our hiring for our Director of Sales and Marketing. which will be based here in Frisco, and then that individual will start recruiting their own team. We are just starting to reach out to hotels as well to look to create a portfolio of what we call partner hotels. So that is just coming, probably a little bit more so will be happening this fall. Okay?
Hi, good morning. My name is Ann Anderson. I own an insurance agency here in town. And I'm probably going to ask the most strange question, but what are your insurance requirements regarding like excess liability, workers' compensation, the limits, and so forth for your vendors?
Great question. They're trying to remember.
A lot. No, it's typically service dependent. We look at that on an individual scope of work basis. So if you're coming on our property, we want you to have a general umbrella. It's usually around 3 to 5 million cap per instance. If you're doing other services where you're driving big trucks, we may ask you for unlimited liability to make sure you've got some skin in the game. So it really depends on the service you're delivering to the park and the potential for consequential situations to happen.
Good morning. My name is James Young. I'm a franchisee, owner, operator of Paris Baguette here in Frisco. My question is two parts. Number one, do you mainly work with a privately owned business, meaning like non-franchise business? My number two question is there any retail opportunity on site? Meaning, can I get a lease at that location and operate the business?
Okay, you got your businesses there on Main Street there? Okay, I know it well. The answer to your second question is no. There's no leasing opportunities on the site at this time. For the first one, in terms of who kind of we work for, back to Chef Robert on kind of who we look at for bakeries and things like that.
Yeah, I think Dan and Brad hit it in the beginning. So when we get later on and you start coming up to us and talking to us, just keep in mind quality, scale, and consistency is going to be really important. There's going to be a lot of the questions Chef Chris and I ask you. We want to make sure that you're able to consistently run your own business and service us consistently on a daily basis. Not to put your business to the side, but if we're going to get into an agreement where you're going to sell me a baguette or you're going to sell me a sandwich, consistency is key. A lot of times, people don't understand the scale that we're talking about. There'll be potentially up to 10,000 people in this park. That's a lot of product, especially when you're running your own businesses. So keep that in mind. We don't want you to start baking weeks in advance to give us a fresh product that no longer is fresh. So transparency is going to be really key. And just be honest with yourself about what you can really do consistently.
Great, thanks. The only thing I'd add, because you're a franchise, is legally you'd have to be providing us some releases from the franchisor, from the Paris Baguette or the Donato's, saying that they have approved you to sell the products to us.
Hi, I'm Erin England. I'm a local mom and the founder of Diaper Concierge. So my question is, I have a service that's not typically responsive to your traditional RFP process. So do you have a sole source process for those atypical offerings?
We know Diaper Concierge. Megan, you want to take this one? You know them as well. We've talked to them.
Yes. It really depends. There are occasions where we will consider sole source opportunities. It is a little bit harder to do that because it has to go through an approval process internally. And depending on the level of business, it sometimes goes really high. So it really depends on what we're talking about. It's not to say that we don't do it. It's not our preferred method of contracting, but it can be done.
So still go through the first step?
Correct.
QR and then?
Correct.
Thank you.
We do it, it just needs a lot more signatures. A lot more approvals.
Hello, good morning. My name is Manjeet Singh with Healthcare Heroes. It's so good to hear that when you say that you recognize your employees are your most valuable asset, and thank you for taking very good care of them. My question to you is, do you have any program within your company that takes care of their mental and emotional needs, or any program as such, especially any non-pharmacological program that you have?
Yes, we do. We have partnered with a number of companies here domestically that provide assistance. We've got, as I mentioned, we'll have a little over 1,500 team members here. In Orlando, 30,000 or more now. That means there's a lot of people and a lot of team members going through a lot, both personally, emotionally, with their family. And we do have outreach programs. We have hotlines. We have counselors on call that these team members can reach out to. So yeah, it's an integral part of our company. It is a way to take care of our team members, whether they have special needs emotionally, financially. Everybody at some point in their life goes through some pretty major stuff, and we want to be there to take care of our team as well. So yeah, we do have programs like that. Thanks for asking.
Hello, my name is William Lucas from Panam Coffee and Tea Importers. I was hoping Chef Chris or Robert could maybe speak to the different dining venues and concepts that are going to be on property.
So we can't go into detail on them 100% yet, because nothing has officially been released on the dining concepts that we have within the resort. But we do have some really exciting offerings throughout this whole resort. We showed you a snippet of the IPs, the intellectual properties that are going to be involved with them. But I could guarantee you, we most definitely will need coffee. We would definitely need bread, cupcakes. So there's going to be an amazing opportunity for a lot of people in this room.
Hey there, I'm Sydney with Lux Balloons Prosper. And I was just curious if you're going to have an event space at the park or in the hotel.
Yes.
And what kind of events are you hoping to have there?
Many types of events. Yeah, we know that events will be, it's something as simple as it could be an elementary school coming in the morning for an educational component. It could be the scouts coming in for earning a merit badge or earning, and learning something, whether it be about our attractions or about F&B or retail. We do have space. I can't give much more information, but we've obviously considered it as part of our design because we know there's a demand for it, whether it be for something as small as a birthday party, all the way up to a school or even a corporate event that we can host in what's kind of a unusual but fun atmosphere.
Hey, my name is Brent Urban from Howdy Homemade Ice Cream. I love the movie Puss in Boots Last Wish. But the main question is, will you be hiring people with special needs?
Absolutely. This is going to be a key part of our experience because as we're focusing on families and families with younger children, again, every family has their own needs and every child is at a different stage of their education and their development. We have put a lot of special thought into our facilities, from everything from quiet rooms to calming areas. We have sensory gardens in the park for if children need a little bit of time to kind of quiet down and calm down and get away. We have a number of partners that we're working with. We have already created a great partnership with the Autism Center with Children's Hospital of Dallas. They've got a great program. We are looking at how we can partner with groups such as the Special Olympics, who are holding their summer games up in Melissa for the next 4 years. And our hotel and park are quite close. So we are looking at community groups, and we've put a lot of thought into design. I can't reveal too much, but there's a lot of special accommodations from our rides to our food and beverage to just the facilities from our, we've got, of course, our first aid stations, but we also have family rooms as well, which will also offer a number of services that individuals and families will be able to take advantage of that they'll need spending a couple hours at the park. So absolutely, great question.
Dan, I'll also add to that inclusivity and inclusion is a core part of our DNA. I would say it would be hard to Google the impacts of Comcast, NBC, Universal and not find anything about what we do for our community in all aspects. Our chairman at Comcast very recently made the largest donation to the Children's Hospital in Pennsylvania. I've had the pleasure to sit on the board for Special Olympics for 12 years, most recently as a chairman, and that was all supported through Universal's destinations. And that's not uncommon. You'll find many of our executive leaders sitting on local not-for-profits, as well as volunteering and really making an impact and a difference. So absolutely.
Hi, my name is Misty, and I'm with Jovi North Texas Nannies, Sitters, and Events Professional Childcare. And my question really is, in terms of a special service rather than a product, is a lot of the same structure of the contracts the same in terms of, since one of the reasons why we're able to offer the child care under insurance is based off of our personal insurance for Jovi for our nannies and sitters, would then we still come in under the Universal brand name, or will we still come in under the Jovi name? That's really kind of my question.
So it sounds like that question is related to subcontracting and the insurance. I would say that's sort of a very unique service, to be quite honest, that we don't offer in any of our parks, but there are plenty of hotels that offer this type of service, right? So it's something we probably need to take back and understand a little bit better. I would say on the contracting process, depending on the service you do provide, there are things that we carve out, right? I mean, if you're not going to, come on site and things like this, then yeah, we're not going to, we're going to delete sections of our standard terms agreement. So that's a service we'll have to look at a little bit more uniquely.
All right, awesome, thank you.
Hi, my name is Emily Johnston. I'm here with North Texas Performing Arts of Frisco. We're a children's theater, actually, with programs in performance, costume design, tech, special effects, that kind of stuff. Obviously, I think there's a lot of synergy between what you're doing and what we're doing and opportunities that we could give the kids and work together. So what's the best way to start those conversations? Would that be still filling out the form, even though it's not exactly procurement? Or what's the best way for nonprofits to connect with you?
Yes, I would say to fill out the form, and we can contact you and we can have a further discussion about what the opportunity might be.
Hi there. My name is Chrissy Smith, and I work for Redley SES. We're commercial cleaning. I first wanted to thank you for working so closely with Cobb Hill. I live there. It's the neighborhood that's backed up to y'all. So thank you for that. But my question would be more about your time frame for those RFQs. What's your timeline look like?
It can depend. I would say minimum, most RFPs take a couple of months to go through. Depending on how complex it could be, it could take 6 months to a year. So it's not typically what we want to do, but again, depending on the complexity, it could take a long time. I would plan for a minimum of a couple of months. When do they open? Is that what you asked? Great question. Some of them will be coming up soon. I can't say exactly when. We still have to do some planning on our end, but those should be opening up soon.
And they're not opening all at the same time. It's going to be based on what do we know we need quicker than others. So, and I don't think we could handle opening them all at the same time. So, and nice to have you as neighbors.
Hi, Julianne Gaudette with LC Marketing. In regard to your community impact program, can the public be part of that, or do you need to be employed with the park to be part of your community impact program?
Relative to volunteer work or?
Yes.
Yeah, so I would say, first of all, when the community helps out, everyone wins, right? So there are absolutely ways for the public to be part of it. Now, there are times when we do team building events and then we take out all the volunteer spots, and so it's just UDX there. But we do things where we partner with multiple organizations. So for example, when we're working with Habitat, we're bringing many companies together to construct a house. When we do partnerships with our local schools, we're bringing many companies to bring those projects together. So I think when there's opportunity to partner and make an impact, you'll probably never hear us say no.
All right, I know we have several more questions identified, but our goal is to finish this section by 10 o'clock so that everybody has time to have some individual one-on-one time. So I've got 3 questions here, and I know Nicole does as well, but then after that, we're gonna move to the one-on-one sessions. Sound like a plan? All right, great. Good questions so far.
Thank you. My name is John with Scoop Soldiers. Do you have any public spaces that are not part of the hotel or part of the park? And what is your pet policy going to be?
Define public spaces.
Like park areas?
No, we do not. The resort itself is kind of self-contained. So, of course, the hotel is open to the public. The park is open to our ticket goers, but it is not. For pet policy, service animals only, both for the hotel and the theme park. Is our plan. That things change, but.
You're good. Hi, I'm Kemi Ogundele with Sugar in LA. We provide organic sugar hair removal services, a healthy alternative to waxing. My question is, what is your focus and requirements for environmental responsibility and sustainability for your facilities and your vendors? And then for beauty, health, wellness, spa services, how are you sourcing that? Thank you.
I'm going to take the first part, Brad.
Yeah, so I would say on EHS, it's very deeply rooted in our organization. In fact, our Epic Universe project, I think it's the first theme park globally that's LEED Platinum. And when you're building a project that big and you are looking into sustainability, those things cost money. But as a company, we're committed, and that's why we did that. Our Beijing park, I believe, is LEED Gold, Dan. But we have a pretty extensive set of EHS policies, sustainability. If you come to some of our parks, you'll see a lot of floating solar. We also probably have in Orlando one of the largest fleets of battery electric buses in the city of Orlando as well. So we're looking at all aspects of sustainability and impact to our current operating environment.
Yeah, it's critical. And I know we mentioned insurance earlier. We expect similar environmental practices from our vendors as well. We're connected, we're partners, so we want to make sure we do the right thing. In terms of beauty products, we will not have a spa. on site. Again, a family-friendly hotel, focused on kids. So there is, at this time, no plans to have any sort of spa or similar services in our hotel.
Hello, my name is Anna Christie, and I'd like to thank you for coming. You've already answered one of my questions, which had to do with the experiences. But the second question is about licensing. I came here today to meet you, and thank you for coming to our city, because many of your imposters have been reaching out to me under the umbrella of Universal to get into some of my creative ideas with my books that I've written and different things like that. So as far as licensing goes, if you have things that are maybe under the radar that could be opportunities, is that also through this QR code?
It would be, yeah. To
Okay.
reach out initially, we understand that the QR code is not just, may not be exactly whether it be a nonprofit or hotel looking to partner with us, but it at least gives us kind of, okay, this may not be specifically for procurement, but let's connect this local business with our community relations team or our marketing team. So let's make the connection. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
All right, can we give it up one more time for the Universal Kids Resort team? I hope you got a sense, you heard Dan say it several times, but partnerships are deeply entrenched in their DNA, who they are, and we're seeing that in this room today and since day one, so thank you. We truly appreciate your partnership with the Chamber. We appreciate all the sponsors who made this possible. Thank you again so much, and we look forward to seeing you at the next event and to have great success stories out of these connections.